So hello everybody, welcome back. I hope that you like this video and that you find it helpful somehow. And anyway, power has been back on for the last almost 2 days now. I think 2 days now. And of course everybody is expecting the power to be back off any second. So several things that we learned or we are reviewing in this video. So grab your tea, and if you wanted to share with me, we'll add links for that down below. And here we go. This is kind of like how it looks like. There is a lot of lights that are on in all houses, and soon there will be light in these things. And yes, these are bars on the window. So anyway, it's kind of cool, right? It looks very cool, and it's windy. So today I was walking the dog outside, and it was kind of cool. So anyway, the first thing that will happen during a power outage is, of course, you finding out where are you, at what time is it, and what is the weather outside, and what is happening. Meaning, let's say that a power outage happened throughout the night and you didn't even notice because you were sleeping. Let's say that you do not care about air conditioners or anything like that, because you can sleep like a baby and you don't care. So you will be fine. And you should be grateful because you at least got a good night's sleep. And in the morning, the problem is that if you have an alarm clock that works with electricity or something like this, then you're going to be late for everything because the thing won't work without electricity. So yeah, it's kind of like a thing. So the first thing, the alarm clocks that are plugged in, they will not work. If you have a coffee maker that was supposed to deliver the coffee for you, yeah, that won't work either. And so anything that is electronic and programmable and things like this, if there was a power outage, then you are not going to be able to use it. And so let's say that you depend upon the Alexa or anything else like that, then yeah, you are done, because you can't ask Alexa or anything because they don't have power. So unless you're telling me that you're going to plug them into a UPS. And even if you plug them into a UPS, there is a limit to what they can do. So if you depend upon these devices, then you will be in severe problems. Seriously. If you cannot manage to do things without them, then you are going to be the first one to suffer the most. In terms of a daily basis, okay? Then there was the problems with the food. We lost about $400 worth of food that we had, that we were supposed, this was supposed to last us about 2 or 3 months, and they were perishables, meat that was frozen, and things that were frozen. And that is because we lost about I think that 1/3 of the food, and then we had to consume 1/3 of the food from their freezer, and so we only had 1/3 of the freezer that we have been filling up for the last, I don't know, 2 years or something like this. And so now we lost all of that. And interestingly enough, you will find that I forgot to mention this, and my mom and we completely forgot about this one also. When you have a power outage that lasts more than 3 days, your refrigerator, as in the freezer, okay, the one that it is horizontal, I'm not talking about the freezer from your refrigerator, I'm talking about the freezer per se. A lot of people will buy freezers, okay, and they will put them in basements or in places that do not have sunlight, because it makes sense, right? Yeah, that will be very, 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 very wrong. The reason being is that all of that... Oh, crap. Now, yeah, see, that thing was on and off. Yeah. On and off there is that flipping in the light. I do not know if you catch it, but that will happen a lot. So twice or 3 times, this means that, yeah, it's probably going to be a long night tonight. Probably not going to have electricity again. So anyway, like I was saying about the freezer, the ice in the freezer will melt, and anything that is frosty will melt, and so you will have a very stinky water that will be collected into a tray that is on the bottom of the freezer thing. Now, this tray will make the smell in that area very, very, very horrible, because the water will collect all kinds of bacteria and all kinds of very bad things. And so let's say that you have this in your basement and you have no power, and then this tray is collecting water and now it's overflowing with stench water, and now you gotta clean it. So also you gotta be strong enough to put the freezer into a position in which you can empty the tray, and you gotta understand how to empty the tray, and you gotta understand how to clean that thing, and you gotta understand how to collect the water before it even hits the ground. And so at this point you really want to read the manual for your freezer, if you have one, that says how the hell to collect that water when the tray is overflowing, and you want to change the tray. And if you're a person that cannot bend or cannot know these things or do not understand, then you're going to have a hard time cleaning it, and then from the floor, and it's going to be slippery, and it's also going to be, stinky, and it's going to be very bad. And if for whatever reason all of a sudden the power comes back in and there is water on the floor and you're cleaning, I don't need to tell you that might pose a risk of electrocution. So that is going to be so cool. So seriously, you trying to clean, and then that thing, just trying to be like, yeah, I'm back in, and you're like, not now. Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of like one of those things. So seriously, you want to understand that one. You also want to understand that there will be other issues in terms of things that will happen. So for example, if you live in a building, there are advantages of that and there are disadvantages. I have mentioned this before. I made a couple of videos on the Davy Tower, and if the power outage lasts a long time, then everything in the cities will be kind of like in the same things that are happening in the Davy Tower. And so that one is going to be very, very, very expensive if you live in the buildings, unless you want to go up and down and you're strong and you don't have disabilities and you have a lot of things. And so this is going to be war about fuel. It is also very, very, very expensive in terms of having cash. If you are trapped in an elevator, then I'm going to tell you what will happen. In my country, the people already know how to help other people get out of elevators. But if you are in a country in which people do not know what to do, and you can actually kill somebody because you do not know how the hell to make these things work, then this is going to become a problem, because most of the people that are calling the emergency services are collapsing the lines. What does that mean? Well, I'm going to tell you, and this is no joke, there are people who are, of course, anyone who is 25 or less, they are calling 911, as in emergency services, to ask if the world is ending and they are going to starve to death because there is no chicken on certain stores, like I don't know the brands, I forgot the brand, I think it's KFC, I can't remember if it is KFC or McDonald's or something like that. But the point is that they went in there, and it was insane, because the 911 operator was kind of like, this is no emergency, and then they were like, yes it is, how the hell am I supposed to eat if this place is not selling food? And things like this. And so I'm not joking, okay? I was going to make a video about all of the emergency phone calls that people are getting on the emergency operation channels, and they are all kind of like this. There is no internet, and I do not know how to go home because there are people who are driving their cars, and they don't, honest to God, know how to get home without their cell phones or without their GPS or whatever it is, and it doesn't work. And so you're kind of like, what? Seriously, that is happening. And in fact, you can even see it on social media, on the apps that you will usually find the youth on. And at this point, I gotta tell you that depending upon the size of the power outage, because like I told you, the power outage might not be happening in your area, but if it is happening in certain areas, then you better be aware of that. So I also wanted to make a video about internet cables that transfer all of the data between countries, and they store these into secure servers. And there were 5 of these major cables that were shut down, and they were cut. And basically the servers are out of line. Now, if you are a company and you have all of these things, you know, on these areas that do not have power, and on top of that, they have issues because they are being tampered with in terms of the cables and in terms of communication, in terms of things, you're thinking that everything is wireless, and it's not. The reason that you can get things wireless is because there are towers, and it is also because there are cables that connect continents. As in, there is a cable that will connect Europe to Russia, to China, and all of these things. And if these cables, for whatever reason, are tampered with, then you are very likely not going to have access to certain servers. When you don't have access to certain servers, then you might be offline. And so you want to understand where the hell is your internet coming from, and where is your water coming from, because also if the power outage affects the water treatment plants, then very likely you will not get water through the pipe, especially if you're in a building or if you live in a certain areas. And so if you don't get water through the pipes, you need a plan. By the way, at that point, I'm going to tell you that day 2 of you not having water, yeah, you're done. No, I'm not joking. You're done. Like, the entire city will be done. You will see people looking for water in the sewers on day 2, because I have seen it in the national power outage, and I have mentioned this before. On day 2, you're done, because you cannot survive on day 2 without water. And if you're thinking that you can go and get it and buy it and store it or whatever, yeah, that won't last more than 1 week. Your storage is not going to last more than 1 week. I'm going to tell you that one because I thought that my storage was supposed to last me at least 3 weeks or something like this, and it didn't even last me that much. So you're going to have to pay water trucks. And if you don't know, water truck companies and things like this, like I have mentioned this before, you want to establish water truck companies on hand before hard times, because you need water trucks to bring the water through your house and then put it into your water tanks and things like this. That is how people will manage. However, water trucks will probably ask you for fuel, and they will probably ask you for cash, both. Fuel, because they cannot go to your place and then go back without the fuel, and they also need payment, because then you go kind of like, yeah, but if I give you fuel, then I don't give you payment. Yeah, I'm sorry, but you gotta pay for the transportation, and you also gotta pay for the service of water. So that's going to cost you, and that is going to piss a lot of people off, and I don't need to tell you that if you have enough cash and you have enough money, then you don't care. But most people will not be able to manage to do all of these things. And anyway, other things that I have learned is you are going to have a lot of people that are trapped in elevators. But like I've mentioned this before, if you have a lot of people that already know how to help you out, you need whistles and you need something to make noises inside the elevator. And you also probably want to have flashlights in your keyring, because if you need to open the doors and it is dark, then you need something so that you can pinpoint where is the door and where is the keyhole. You're not going to find it by heart, because you just won't. It's nearly impossible for you to open the door by heart, unless you have already been blind and you already, kind of understand these things. But even then, you're going to probably be tired and you're probably going to have a lot of issues. So no, you need the flashlight in your key ring. So you also need a lot of power banks. That is going to help you out with your cell phone, batteries, and a lot of other stuff. But it is not going to save you after, day 3 or 4. And so you need a way to recharge those power banks, and at this point you gotta go to the malls and you gotta figure out whether the malls will charge you for these services or they will be free, and if there is a line, because otherwise, you're thinking, okay, I'm going to the mall, charge this thing in 10 minutes and come back. Yeah, there is a huge line of about 400 people trying to get the freaking thing on, to plug in the same thing as you, because, a lot of malls will have generators, but if they don't, then you gotta figure out which malls have generators, which malls are charging for these things, which malls are offering this service for free, how far are they from you, and you also need to know what pumps, as in fuel pumps, will have, an emergency service or something like this, because a lot of fuel pumps will just not work without power. And so you need to know all of these things in advance. If you don't, it's going to cost you a lot of time. And it's not like you're going to die, but I swear you are going to be probably cursing a lot of things. And you're probably not going to want to be around kids, because you don't want them to hear all of the language that you're going to have when you are, all stressed out, tired, no shower whatsoever. You are cleaning yourself, but no shower whatsoever. And on top of all of these things, everything is going wrong, because the information that you're getting on the social media channels are wrong, or they are repeated, or it's too slow, or it